Oh, I've got a microphone now. They'll hear me down there. Um, may I begin by thanking everyone for their kind words about my twin brother. He did actually order me to come here today just before he died, and I said I might be staying down in Windsor. He died on 19th July, and I was able to spend some time with him before that happened. As a military knight of Windsor, his funeral will be in Windsor Castle on the 10th of September. However, he asked that his ashes are scattered at the Heads of Ayr, where he and I used to run about together when we were young. And that will happen later in the year. And I will keep everybody informed, and anybody is welcome to come to any of these events. He's able to do so, but Windsor's a bit of a long way away, so I don't expect too many people from Scotland, and we understand that. Right, now I'm going to tell the amazing tale of the men of the 5th Renfrewshire Argyll and Southern Highlanders Battalion. Within days of the fateful signal in July 1914, the 5th Renfrewshire Battalion, the Argyll and Southern Highlanders, had formed up at Fort Matilda, and by the night of 2nd July 1915, they lined the trenches at Gurkha Bluff on the Gallipoli Peninsula. The 5th was composed of men who joined the territorial force. Many before the war had enlisted merely to earn a bit of extra money for their families. These were men who came from the local area of Greenock, Gourock and Port Glasgow, with their headquarters at the Finnett Street Drill Hall, led by the great and the good, plus the local merchants and businessmen. So the 5th was, in effect, a PALS battalion, like so many others formed throughout the United Kingdom. And it's here at Loch Thom and in those hills that these men trained hard, ready to go to war in defence of their country. Bearing in mind that before training in all weathers, the men had completed a full week's hard labour in the shipyards and local industries along the Clyde. What a team. During the ill-fated Gallipoli campaign, the Allied troops were pitted against the Turks, a well-resourced and tough enemy defending its home soil on ground of their choosing with a full support network. Interestingly, the 5th Argylls had travelled to Gallipoli aboard RMS Ardania, a ship that many of them had helped build in Scott's shipyard in Greenock. Behind the Allies stretched submarine-infested seas. Thus, stores and ammunition had to be landed at improvised wooden piers under bombardment by the Turkish batteries. Turkish machine guns and snipers overlooked the Allied trenches, and the Allies were forced to endure the stifling heat, thirst, and plagues of flies, leading to heavy casualties from dysentery, enteric fever, and jaundice, in addition to constant effective enemy fire. As part of 157 Brigade, the 5th Argylls attacked the sloats of Akibaba on the 12th and 13th of July 1915, their objectives being the enemy trenches set against difficult rocky terrain and under a murderous enemy barrage. This would prove to be the 6th and final attempt to take this prominent hill. Here comes the enemy. All right, over then. To the skirl of the pipes and the cry understood only by the locals of first hoose at the Hippodrome, the 5th followed their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Duncan Darragh, over the top. After taking the first two trenches, they advanced towards the third, only to discover that it did not exist. Thus they were exposed to more heavy fire from well-prepared Turkish positions further up the slope. Effective Argyll tactics included hand-to-hand fighting with bayonets and hurling Turkish bombs back into their positions. Meant to divert Turkish attention from further Allied landing operations, casualties were severe. Colonel Darragh was wounded. Lieutenants Miller and Rowan, Second Lieutenants Nicholl and Wilson distinguished themselves, and Company Sergeant Major McLachlan was awarded the Distinguished Conduct Medal for his gallantry and leadership during the action. The 5th held their positions for some 30 hours and repulsed repeated enemy attacks until relieved on the night of the 13th July. After Achi Baba, the 5th continued to play its part in the defence of the beleaguered Arai garrison and, despite many attacks, exacted a heavy price in casualties on the Turkish enemy. And as if that was not enough, before finally being withdrawn in January 1916, the Allied army had been exposed to the lashing fury of a Balkan winter with rain, cold, and blizzards of driving snow and sleet which turned the hillside trenches into raging torrents. Through all these privations, the 5th Argylls, along with the rest of the Allied forces, doggedly soldiered on with a spirit that is hard to imagine. Not bad for territorials who had been known as toy soldiers up until then. The 5th went on to serve with distinction at Suez, Gaza, and the Western Front. The story of the men of the 5th Renfrewshire Battalion, the Argylls and Southern Highlanders, is one amongst many of the Great War in which ordinary men achieved extraordinary things in the service of their country. I can do no better than repeat those haunting words of the Ottoman forces commander Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, which appear on the memorial above the field of Gallipoli. And if my voice breaks, you will understand why. Those heroes that shed their blood and lost their life, you are now lying in the soil of a friendly country. Therefore rest in peace. There is no difference between the Johnnies and the Mehmets to us, where they lie side by side, here in this country of ours. You, the mothers who sent their sons from faraway countries, wipe away your tears. Your sons are now lying in our bosom and are in peace. After having lost their lives on this land, they have become our sons as well. We must always remember their sacrifice with pride, respect, and admiration. I salute their memory. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Bobby. Much appreciated. Parade! Parade! Shut! Not old as these that are left grow. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning we will remember them. We will remember them. Thanks, Andy. Ladies and gents, that is the end of the parade thus far. Thank you very much, everybody, for turning up on a nice, glorious day. Colonel Bobby, as usual, magic. Let's give him a wee round of applause, thank you. Cool air, guys. Parade, parade, son! March off the colours! Parade! Thanks for coming, lads. Well turned out as usual. Parade! Dismiss!
I'm coming back to the good old summer times when my pipes are playing for old lang syne. For I know she will be waiting to greet me with a smile. When we all come together along the bumble heather, bonny Mary Overgill. Well, we held the grand procession as we marched before the Queen. 10,000 shouted warriors, the like you've never seen. At first they thought the Zulus from the land beyond the Nile, until we heard the singing bonny Mary Overgill. For we're all Scotsmen, everyone's a Scotsman. Buffalo Bill for Mary Hill, never worked and never will. Aye, man, believe it if you can. There were Highlands and Oxford, Daphne socks, Scotsmen, everyone. Get up, Barbara!
Well done, guys, that was excellent.
Yeah, everybody's away and Alec is still working away. He's still grafting, he's taking all the stuff away. And he gave me that wee plaque there, which I'll use in remembrance down at Bothwell Park. I'll get it put in some kind of frame. I'll leave a pop across here for Robert.
Send me a photo once you've got it off.
Aye, I will do. And he had me gone there. He said he was pals with a guy called Mark Fleeton. And I thought, oh, it must be a relation. He looked up, it's Mark Fleming. I thought I had a long lost cousin somewhere, because the boy Mark made that It's big slate there. Next Argyll and all. There was Mark Fleming. So anyway, I'm going to put the poppy crust in for our Roberto. Forever in my thoughts. There we go. Robert the man, the myth, the legend. Sleep well, son. Thank you. Is that man there that does it all? There we go, Roberto. Sleep well, son. Up at Loch Thom. The Argylls well.